So, since I've recently been splitting my time between the homestead garden and this little urban garden of ours, the vegetable garden, my kitchen garden, my baby, she's beautiful. I love it. But since I have been splitting my time between the two spaces, this garden has been somewhat neglected, and I just want to enjoy my garden for a while. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come through here. I'm going to remove any of these containers that don't need to be here. I'm going to move the seedlings to um, the potting bench over here so they're off the ground. I will plant them. I'm currently in 2 months. Do I take these seedlings with me where I can keep an eye on them, or do I plant them here and they just unfortunately are not going to get the same amount of attention? Okay, so I am blubbering a little bit. Sorry about that. It is what it is. Aim for today, clean up this area. Let's see if we can get some of this leaf litter and sand out of here, and maybe even we can plug a hole down here so that the sand isn't just washing out of the garden. So in the heavy flooding our area has been having, our garden got hit a few times because we are in a very walled up area and it's concrete. The drainage is not great. So unfortunately, we had some water rising on this concrete slab, and the rain washed some of the sand and um, mulching off of the pots and out of the vegetable garden into this area. So there's quite an amount of leaf litter here. So I think my plan will then be, let's just clean these containers up, empty out their sand into containers that are already here, pack them away so that they're out of this general area, and then I can start moving containers and just sweeping things out, putting it back into the garden preferably, and keeping it from holding the damp onto this concrete slab. Especially since I put so much effort into cleaning it with a high pressure cleaner. Okay. Sorry, me. Sorry, baby. Let's start. Yeah. This cell actually has some cherry tomatoes in it. So I'm just gonna pop this little guy out and plant it in this container over here with the beans and the basil. This area is already looking a lot better. So I do still have a few more things to clean up. I've got a tag over there to pull out, and I would like to hang these two hanging baskets back in their original space so that that's all set up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come along this wall and move the pots that I can away from the wall, sweep them out into more of a central area, come back and do this, put those back, sweep everything up, hopefully put it back into the veggie garden. Let's see what we can get done. Just went to go and grab some tools. I'm not sure what we're going to need just yet. I'll probably go back and forth a few times. I'm indecisive like that. But we'll get there. First, hanging baskets. Here is actually one of the wooden boards that got washed away from that little area that was holding the sand back. We might have to make a replacement. Hmm. Okay, so this bean cannot be moved because it is now growing up against this wall and up through these plants and over and around. It's beautiful. I'm just letting it go wild. Oh yeah, Duncan clearly did this job of wiring. This is so intricate. You know it wasn't me that did it. Okay, so since we don't need this one anymore, we can... oh no. One more. Okay. I feel a little bit more secure now moving these containers around. I should be wearing gloves. I know there are loads of spiders in this garden. I really should be wearing gloves. Better, now at least I've got my gloves. Now obviously this container can't move too far. I'll just have to sweep carefully around it, move it back, and then sweep again. Okay, some of these containers are empty. The ones that are empty, I'm not actually going to put back. I'm going to leave them out so that I know what space I can fill or move or shuffle, do whatever I need to. And I want to put some of the plants that maybe could use a little bit of extra sunlight in the areas that could give them that. Okay, so these strawberries are trying to root themselves into the containers around them, and I'm not opposed to that by any means. I also just don't know if I need that right now while I'm trying to shuffle things around. And as you can see, it can get quite long. But I'm just going to stick them back into this container. Hopefully they'll root themselves. If not, oh well. With some of these further down, I will intentionally plant them in these containers so that I can have a propagation of strawberries. Okay, so here we've actually got a strawberry that's attached itself. Right, so here's our wheelbarrow, and here's the container that I just laid the runners on in one of my previous videos. So as you can see, the strawberry plant drops these little runners, and they have these almost like nodes, heads, if you will, crowns, and then as they make contact with the soil, they attempt to root themselves, and then they'll vine off and they'll shoot their own little runners out to create the next strawberry plants, and so on and so on. So if you look at this wheelbarrow plant, I have got a strawberry plant here. This then runs down to a node or little head, and then that runs further down here onto our soil, and then up to this plant that has itself actually rooted in the soil, which is pretty cool. So now if I wanted to keep this, which I will, I'm just going to cut this stem here, and this vine will then be on its own and be able to move freely, and I will have a potted strawberry. This is how everything stands at the moment. I've swept along that wall, I've done this wall, I've just been distracted, and in my squirrel I trimmed off the strawberry plant, and we do in fact have, fortunately, this one that has settled in this container, which is perfect for me. So I'm just going to move these containers now and give this area a good sweep. I think since I'm moving the containers that don't have anything in them out of the way, I will put this container against that wall there. And who knows, maybe we can fill the front of these containers with the runners from the strawberries. It'll look lush. Okay, and then I can put the beans there. Mary, I don't want to play now. She'll be back. Haha, yeah. It should be good. Where is it? Right, so this is where we are so far. I've got these 4 containers. So I've just moved the basil from out of the corner, and I've moved the paprika from over there to here. I think it looks a bit nicer. This still looks very neat at the moment. And I've just moved the bulbinella and what we think might be a date palm just to this little area over here. I have come along and swept this general area over here so that this is nice and clean. My plan with this giant pile of leaf litter now is to just take it and scoop it up and put it back into the garden itself, so that hopefully we can have some healthy growth going on in here and we don't necessarily lose all the soil. I did accidentally break this marigold, so my plan is just to come through now with the cutters and remove all the limbs that fall on the inside. I'm going to leave it to grow so that this external growth, the stuff that's growing through the fence, can hopefully continue to grow. So I did sadly know this was going to happen, that there was the potential this would grow into the walkway. And while it's sad, I never intended on these things getting this big. They obviously just like the fertile soil, so they gave it their best shot, and it paid off. There we go. A couple of gooseberries growing here. I'm just going to pull those out as well. We don't need to keep that. Now that I'm done trimming this marigold, most of it's lying on the floor there next to the pile, I'm actually going to stop and have a coffee break. I'm actually going to carry my chair through, come and sit here where I used to sit and admire my garden. Since it's my intention just to put this back in the garden, I'm just going to scoop it up into this container and carry it over and drop it off. These marigolds still have bees all over them. So what I think I may do, just for the bees, is temporarily hang them here or turn them somewhat so that they have better access to those flowers. She may. I actually think I'm just gonna enjoy my moment here alone and enjoy my garden. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.